Hello out there in internet land, and welcome to John Boy's Radio and Electronics Workbench. What do you got today, John? Well, today I've got a Galaxy 959b Deluxe Edition with probably one of the craziest faults I have ever tried to fix. I was a couple of times, this was on its way to the bone pile because it was driving me crazy. Sometimes you know what that is. So I'm going to tell you what led up to this. Well, I've got this radio that came in dead, and it was dead. The only thing that came on was the light and the counter. This was dead. The counter was reading 10.695. So I immediately thought, well, you know, let's go in there and find out what's going on. Let's take the covers off here, get everything out, get it ready to go. The covers off, put them aside. As you can see, I got this thing all gutted already. It's been waiting a part, which came in a couple of weeks ago, and I just haven't got to it. Put that over there for now. Let's see what we got here. Okay, pull this all out. Here's the crazy board. Been a while since I've been in here. If I can figure out how to get it all back together again, that would be fun. So, yeah, okay. Yep. All right. So there's the radio. Get that part ready to go. And we can unwrap the thing. So when I got this radio in, I started troubleshooting it, and I immediately found, I'll just go to the schematic here and show you. Okay. That's not it. That's not it. There we go. Okay. Right here you can see the part that was burned. Okay, the 8-volt regulator. You can't see my mousey, but the 8-volt regulator comes in where I put 8 volts, plus 8 volts, and the little circle is where it comes in to the PLL circuits, which was dead. The chip was dead, the VCO block was dead, nothing coming in. And I traced it to that L48. It's a 470 microhenry inductor, but it also is a 10 ohm, has 10 ohms to it. So that's a very interesting part. So I replaced that. Little guy. And proceeded to power it up, at which point it powered up and it looked everything was good. But I didn't have anything hardly hooked up to it. It wasn't until I hooked a ground up to it. As soon as I hooked a ground up to it and joined the chassis ground to the board ground, as soon as I did that, it smoked that thing again. It just burnt it. So I said, wow, I got a weird short on the 8-volt regulator line on this side of it, on the right side of that, on the right side of the circle I showed you in the schematic. So on the right side of that, where the PLL chip is, you can see the big 16-pin, 18-pin dip. That's the 8719 PLL, and then the VCO block is IC2 just on the top there. And that burned again. And I think I burned it twice before I finally figured out what was going on. And what happened was there's a line that goes straight down. You see the right side of L48, there's a line that goes down and over to the channel selector. Well, the craziest thing is the channel selector, that 8-volt line was shorted to the shaft of the switch. Took me a while to find it, though. I mean, it was shorted to the shaft of the switch. Absolutely crazy. So here we go. Here's the switch. I got this stuff out here. I guess I gotta take all this crap out anyway because I gotta need that part. I need this and this and this. And here's the switch. I tore it apart. It's got some unique features inside it. You can see it's got a bunch of wafers and a bunch of doodads. But for life of me, I couldn't figure out how this shaft got shorted to ground, or shorted to the 8-volt rail. Something weird going on with one of these guys, or something leaking in here. I couldn't find it. Didn't want to sit and play with it for 10 hours. So it ended up going, it's going to end up going into the recycling craziness of recycling. And that goes over there, that goes over there. And what we have here is brand new switch, straight from Barkett Electronics. And I can get the tape off of it. We have here a brand spanky new switch. In fact, I ordered 2 of them, so I got an extra one. That back in there, that back in there, and that back in there, and we'll save this other one for another episode if we ever get another one. I've never had another. I never think I've ever seen one of these fail, and not this kind. They seem to be pretty bulletproof. Okay, so the next thing I got to do is I've got to assemble the doodad. This is the mounting bracket. I got to make sure I get it right. Yep, that's correct. And it's a pretty crazy fault, I got to admit. Not too many of these come around your way. If I can find a tool to tighten it. It's always been a joy trying to find the tool, the right tool for the job. Come on, where'd you go? Fiddly stuff of fiddly and fiddly and fiddly. I think I'd remember what color it was all these years. I think that's it, but it's not going to fit on there. I'm going to have to do this with the long nose. We'll just do it this way. And we'll tighten it up like this. I can't get in there with that one either. This is not going to go anywhere once it gets zinged down anyway. Yeah, that's good enough. Okay. Okay, now let's put this on the board. See if it fits. Oh, it's got a bent pin already. Great. Gotta watch these things like a hawk. If you can see that. It's pretty small on your, looking what you're doing there. Pull this back a little bit. See what's going on here. Can bring this down a little bit, I think. Maybe how about that? Yeah. Okay. Let's get this on the board. And there it is. Sitting on there like that. Make sure all the pins are in there. And then I'm going to take some solder and pin a couple of leads. That one there, that one there, kitty corner to each other. Then we're going to resolder this whole piece. Yep, I was banging my head on this one, boy. It was drive me crazy. I was going, man. And it was not only was it a short, but it was an intermittent short, so it wouldn't show its ugly head until you flexed this board, and then all of a sudden that 8 volts would appear on the shaft. So it took me a while to find it. I mean, I had to make it fail and trace it, and it was purely by accident. My probe fell on the chassis when I powered it up one time, and I saw the 8 volt rail on the chassis, and I went, that's not right. That can't happen. But it did. See, how can that happen? I don't know. Let's find out. Start ripping stuff apart, and start isolating everything on the front panel, and lo and behold, it was right there on this part right here. And it doesn't touch anything else. It has no touchies with anything else on the board except for that. Okay, we got that all squared away. Let's see if I can get this back oriented on the front panel here. Okay, this guy plugs in to this guy, and I had this all ripped apart. I can't remember where anything goes anymore. Let's put this in first. Should I do it that way or that way? Yeah, that looks like right. That looks good there. And so long since I took it apart, I can't remember how to put it back together again. Okay. Well, let's get out the rest of these parts. Yeah. Make me a bowl here. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Okay, here we go. Let's get this guy back into place. I have to tie wrap all that stuff back into place still, and you gotta put this board back in here. Okay, I'll get this guy back into place. It's got little posts that it fits in. Yep, getting closer here. Now let's see if I can thread this back through here. I knew I was going to ball this up. Doggone it. Come on. What are you catching on? So I hope I don't break anything when I'm doing this. It's the kind of fun part you end up with when you do this, because all these things get all wrapped around each other in such a way that you can't get it back together again. Why did they make it like this? I should have put that board back on before I did the front panel. I might have to redo that. I might have to spare you of my frustrations here. Oh, I think I got it. There it is. Got it in there. Okay. Well, we got to give it the smoke test. Give it a smoke test here. Put my probe down here and let's see what we got next going on up here. We got turn the scope on there so you can see it better. I'm doing here. Let's go. And we got probies, got niceys. Let's plug this in and pray we don't see the same problem again, because then I will definitely go off the hook. Go off the hook, I'm telling you. Looks like we have a switch. Stiff too. Let's put this on there real quick so I can turn it. There we go. Okay, this looks good. I think we're kind of there. Where's the clarifier? There's the clarifier. Okay. 27185. That's what I like to see. Okay, I think we got that sucker working. Let's check the shaft. Ah, look at that. It's still got a static voltage there. Let's ground that out and see if it goes poof. That's got to be just static. A static voltage. Yep, it was static. As soon as I grounded it, it's gone. So there was some residuals there, but nothing there. Of course, the part that burns up is right underneath that switch, underneath the board in this front corner. So I think we have contact. So I'm not going to bore you with me tie wrapping this all together, so I'm going to fast forward. Got the front panel on here, and I just wanted to show you what not to do when it comes to these front panels. This is plastic, and if you over tighten these bezels, they will crack, and I'm telling you, you don't have to put any type of force on these at all. You just snug them up. That's all you need. Get the right doggone screws here. Go. That one, not that one. So these screws are beveled. You see that? They got a bevel on them, and they fit there. Like I said, you don't tighten them. You just snug them. Snuggerona. Oh, I took this back out because I have to do an alignment, and I have to have that out to do the alignment because it's in the way of these 3 cans here, which I have to get to, and this guy way back here, which is a transmit, the transmit pot. This all has to be, gotta disconnect that and get it out of the way so that you can get to those controls. Schnicey wicey. Okay, I think I can cut these off. Get those out of the way. Now we got to put the knobs back on. Everything looks pretty good here so far. The way these things sit and the way they look are kind of weird, so I don't think I'm going to bore you with this knob stuff because it is fiddly as all get out. So I'll just let that go. Okay, so the radio is front panels put back together now. All the knobs are back in place after a fiddly fart session. And now I will proceed to the frequency alignment. I got the test probe on the appropriate spot, and I'll put this up so you can see the counter. You don't need to see me tuning it, but seeing the counter, you can see where I'm going with it. Let's see, if we go to the schematic right here, and this is the frequencies that we're going to be plugging into the various cans. So the first one is going to be AM receive channel 1. Let's get this down here to channel 1. Okay, frequency should be 16.2700. It's a little bit off. I'm going to fiddly that one with my magic screwdriver. And I hope you can see that on the counter. It's a really fiddly adjustment. I gotta tell you, that's probably pretty close enough. Let's go to the upper side. That should be 2725 according to the schematic. Didn't let you see the other one. Okay, let's go back here. There's the dealie. Okay, it should be 2725. It's 2724. Right there. And I usually take this time to do the transmit while the unit is. That's pretty darn close. I don't have to mess with it at all, I guess. Come on, put out a little bit. Right there. Yep, that's just about perfect. It's a hard one to get to. It's got wrapped underneath here. If I can get my magic screwdriver on it. And that's what I want. I don't want it to change when I go to transmit, because this is a locked clarifier, and I'm going to leave it locked unless somebody that owns this radio wants it open. I'm going to leave it locked. So no, that's fine. Let's go to lower sideband, and we're going to put in this last one. Should be 7.5 on the end. And that's that. So the clarifier is now aligned. I can step over here to the I usually pull the I'm doing this. I was just adjusting these three right here. These guys right here were the ones I was just adjusting. Now I'm going to adjust these three right here, which are the IF frequency, the 10.695 IF. And to do that, I just offset the carrier balance to one side. It's already there. I'm going to have to remember to put that back, or I'll be in trouble when I go to transmit on sideband. Let's put this where it's supposed to be here. I think this is the test point I'm looking for, and it is. And I usually just take off this bar here, take that bar up so that it won't transmit. The only thing that happens is that. Okay, let's go back over to the counter. Here's the frequencies for the 10.695, or the bottom half of this. So it's 10.695, 10.6925, and 10.6975 for AM upper and lower sideband respectively. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. I'll let you look at the counter. Counter going there. Okay, we are on lower sideband. Find out which one of these is. It's really close. And there it is. It's really close. Hardly even have to mess with that one. Let's go to upper. That one's really close. I didn't have to mess with these too much. And it probably won't stay where I put it anyway. It gets warm and it'll crap out. And on AM it should be dead on 5.0. And that's the frequency alignment. Okay, now I'm gonna put the counter back in and I'm gonna put the counter back in. I'm going to put the counter back on its points, and then I'm going to tie wrap all that stuff down, and we're going to proceed on with the receive sensitivity tests. Okay, the counter board is reestablished into its plug, and we have a working counter again. I guess I could put this back down so you can see it. Okay, let's do that. Come back down here. How about that? Alright, as you can see, it's all up and running. We have signal. We're going to plug in the get some. Okay, there's the receive audio. We don't need that. I just need the meter reading. Okay, let's chop off the last of the tie wraps so it looks pretty factory. Details, details, details. So now I back everything down, so I'm not going to bore you with that. I could probably show you a couple of the spots that I do, but basically I got to peak some cans here. And the cans I'm going to be going for are this row right here, this one, this one, this one. I think these 3 and these 4. That's the ones I'm going to be peaking. I don't know if I'll be able to show you this being peaked. I don't have meters, I don't have cameras on all my meters or anything like that yet. But basically you turn the generator. Okay, get that right there. Turn the generator modulation off. You go to, I do it on upper sideband. A lot of guys do it wherever they want. I don't care. So you can see the cross mode is not the greatest on this radio. Cross mode, that's lower sideband, so you're hearing a tone. It's not good. And the filter in these is not good. And the filter is that guy right there, which is kind of small. At least they put one in there. I'll give them that. Then you turn the generator down as far as you can go. And we start going for these cans. I might be able to show you this on the scope. Yeah, maybe. Might be able to get you on there. Let's see if I can set that up. Okay, I hooked up the scope so you can see it there. At least it might be not as peaky as what I'd like to show, but I'm doing it on the meter. You can see it on the scope as well. But basically I am turning cans and looking for a peak. You can just kind of barely see that happening. I can see it better on the meter than you can. And you set it for a peak, you go to the next one. Set it for a peak. Got to make sure your generator is really low for this. Microvolt is kind of what we want to be at. A microvolt, and then ooh, that one came up quite a bit. Look at that. Ooh, I have to turn the volume down a little bit. I can't really see it here, I suppose. That's pretty good. Once you get it this sensitive, it doesn't really make any difference. I mean, really good here. That one's really good. Don't have to mess with that one. Yeah, I don't think you can see it too much. Oh, you can really see it on that one. The peaks are really sharp on some of these. And you get that for as high as you can go. Once you get the sideband done, you flip over to AM, go back to center frequency, put the mode switch on IM, and then give us enough stuff to see a kind of a sine wave. Probably hear that in the background. I need a different tool for this. This guy for this guy, so we're doing these now. Those are pretty good. Yep, I would say that not much. These are pretty low Q cans. And that's basically it for receive. The only thing you have to do now is make sure the meters are set correctly. And to do that, we go back up to about 100 microvolts. Right there. Got a pretty good tone there. And you look at the meter. Look at the meter on the front here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this too much. I'm getting tangled up here. I've got it. Getting tangled up. Okay. See the meter there? It says S9. Pretty darn close. You can't see it, too much glare. It's hard to see with the thing, but I'm going to set those. First we set the AM one. Gotta figure out which ones they are. Let me go fiddle around here a minute. Okay, we're going to be targeting a couple of deals here. So VR1 and VR2 are the meter receive calibration points. So we want to go to here, and you can see that it just tells you to set the signal generator for 100 microvolts and adjust VR1 and VR2 in their appropriate modes to S9. So I don't know if you can see the needle there. It's kind of a hard one to hit, but it is exactly on S9. It is very good. So that's the sideband one. Put back to AM. Turn the modulator back up. Okay, go to AM, and again it's right on S9. So I completed this in another life. I'm just going back through them to make sure, but that would be these two guys right there. I'll show you in a different shot here. That would be these two right here. Those are now good. I wanted to put this back where it was supposed to be before I get in trouble. Right at the center. I'm going to make sure that's good before I'm done. That's the carrier balance. That's the one you want to make sure that you do so that you have no carrier when you key on sideband. It's called the carrier balance control. So next, okay, now I'm set up to do AMC, or the modulation limiter is intact on this one. Somebody had completely turned everything all the way up. I don't really like that, so I'm going to show you how I set it. So this is got the RF power all the way down to 1 watt, and I want it to swing up to about 4. And I don't want it to do this. I don't want that. I want it to do just about that much. That way when I turn the power all the way up, it still looks really nice. And it's not too overmodulated. And when I talk, it just barely clips. And that's kind of what you want to see. That's what I like to see right there anyway. Now we're going to do the sideband side. Somebody probably really turned this one up on sideband, so audio, yep, it's pretty hot. Let's do that. It is all the way over as far, and this one's got to be all the way up too. Yep, somebody mucked that one up too. I turn this one back till it just starts to barely limit. And then I gotta look at the ALC. It's one of these doggone things. Let me go look. I gotta find it. Now we're set up to do sideband. ALC is going to be the, hope that's not too loud for you. It's probably driving everybody crazy. So I want to hear it though, so I gotta turn it up pretty loud. Sorry about that. But I need to drive it as hard as I can. So there's two adjustments for this. There's a one adjustment here. People turn that all the way up. I turn it back to about there. And then you want to turn this up and then turn it back till it just barely starts to limit. And when you talk, you get this instead of an open splatter, you get this audio, and it's just over 15. And I don't like to let these swing too much more than that because they will. And I like to be a nice, smooth sounding audio. So there you go. And that's how you do the transmit on that one. The only thing we can do now is the transmit meter. Turn that off. So we want to go to, put that back there, that back there. Let's go to sideband. I'm going to put my scope on here and make sure I got my carrier balance set right. Turn the micro gain down all the way. Put the scope on the output. And key it like that with no audio. Adjust the carrier balance for minimum right there, and that's how you do the carrier balance. And you got to do that after I align it, because I turn it all the way clockwise to make it put out to 10.695 on the test point so I can see it. Otherwise you can't see it. But I do those in transmit. But that's another lecture on theory. So now that we got that done and that is done, I'm going to do the transmit meter. Put the scope back there. Okay. Yep. Okay, good. Go get back to AM. Now we're going to set the meter. The meter should match the output. I've got the output set at just over 4 watts. And the power says 3, so I'm going to turn that up. It says 3. I'm going to go back here to the calibration pot. I'm going to turn this up to where it says just over 4. It's 3, 4, that would be 5, that would be 6. So just over 4, I'm going to set that. That's kind of where it looks on my meter. Tiny bit over 4, it's not a big deal. And that's where we want to see that. So this thing's coming out like a peach. I love it. This was a completely dead radio. So let's see, what do I got left? Let me go through all the stuff again. Make sure I covered all the bases here. So we started with the didn't need to do the PLL. I did that last before I even started this final assembly. That was done a couple of weeks ago and don't need to do that. Did the IFs and the RFs. Okay, we did all those. We came down here, bias current, didn't need to mess with that. Nobody's screwed with that. So I'll just leave it alone. Everything seems fine. Doesn't look like anybody's messed with those bias pots. Nope, looks like they're pretty much factory. And that's good. Don't touch those unless you have to. You could blow stuff up if you don't know what you're doing. So, and then we have upper sideband sensitivity. These are the cans I adjusted. AM squelch, sideband squelch, they both checked out fine, didn't do anything with those. And there you go, this test setup, and there's the board layout that I was going back and forth that you probably didn't see. There's the board layout. It shows me where all the cans are and the pots are and all that happy stuff. And that is kind of where we're at right now. So I'm going to put the covers on this and I'm going to put it on the air and we're going to give it a little on the air check. And I'll be back in a second. So I had another little debacle that I went ahead and fixed off camera because it was so fiddly. I didn't want you to need to see it, but it was this little thing right here I'm pointing at. It's a little tiny plastic plug that connects the backlight, the neon backlight, to the ballast down here. And it was pretty fiddly. I had to cut into it and try to reattach a wire. I got it on there, and now I hope you can see that it's pretty backlight again, and it's just very, very satisfying to see that all come back alive. I mean, even the red, there's red here, and blue in the background. You can turn the dimmer down a little bit and see all that stuff glowing at night. This was the B. It's the deluxe edition. It had a lot of extra stuff on it. It's a lot more expensive. It's another reason I didn't want it to go into the parts bin. It was a real fun one. So I'm going to go off camera again, like I said before, and now I'm going to hook it up, put the covers back on, and we're going to put it on the air and see what it sounds like. Okay, let's get the screws back in this thing. See if it still works. I'm just doing this so I can show you a cool tool from the 80s. It is an old piece, but it works great. Everybody's using the newfangled battery-powered stuff. This has got its own little cord on it, and it goes all the way back to a satellite thingy that gives it power and makes this world go round. But it handles any hex, so you can put any hex thing you want into it. Not fiddly for. Oh. Wrong screw. Right, get that out of the way, get the Dremel out of the way. Let's get this all hooked back up again. Let's put it on the air. channel 6. And the 11111 guys out there jamming 38 lower. A lot of noise out there today. .36 lower. I know it's noisy. It's cluster. Oh, that helps. I had it in GNF. I don't know what that is. It even is anyway. That's better. I wonder why it sounded so muffly. Put that all the way up, that all the way down. Just show you a couple of minutes. This thing's working just great. There's the Super Bowl. Up here in the Pacific Northwest, they hammer us every day. We usually sit on channel 8. That's our local channel here. And it's pretty quiet out there right now. And you can see I'm getting my usual 5 pounds of noise this time of day. It's all that nastiness. But it is what it is. Turn the talk back off. Uh-oh. Gotta turn the talk back off. There we go. Hello, chick. Ah, yeah, it's working fine. Audio. Yep. Working fine. All right, well, I thank you for coming along on this journey. This one's been you only got to see the back half, which is okay. I mean, it was the first half you didn't want to see because I was very frustrated. I think I threw this thing in the bin a couple times, and then I came back to it the next day a couple times before I actually figured it out. It was so drastically crazy intermittent that I just kept pulling my hair out. And you know how that goes. You bang your head on something for about 4 hours, you just let it go, and you come back the next day and find out what happened in 10 minutes. And that's kind of what happened with this one. So, I thank you for coming along. It's been a fun ride. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye.